Yes, people, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. Welcome back, DJ Schak. It is good to see you, bro.
How you doing, mate?
I'm good,
Been
mate,
a while, man, hasn't it?
It has,
been a long time. Obviously, last time we were here was the Euros, but we're not talking about that.
Thankfully, we're not talking about that at all. Because
yeah, I know.
hopefully one day, mate, we'll actually do a fan zone where we win. That'd be nice.
Hopefully. That's the plan, like.
That's the plan. But most importantly, Schak, what's your plans? Because we're here at NX Newcastle, because you're coming back here once again.
Yes, so I'm doing my traditional Christmas show again.
Nice.
And this time I've decided to bring back Nana Mcka. And it's mad, because, traveling all over the world doing what I do, I've met so many amazing people, and I get requested all the time internationally when you're bringing Nana Mcka back, your Nana Mcka, sometimes it surprises how far she's actually reached people, because you have to remember that, Mcka is a very niche genre. It came from Barcelona. DJs brought the records over, and then we added it to our culture. And you had the nightclubs like the Coliseum, the Venue, the After Dark, and the notorious New Monkey. And that's part of our culture. And then that's what gave me basically my grassroots in music. That's how I started out, right? But to be able to touch so many people, because it is such a niche genre, it means so much to me, and it's always a nice little. When I get a nice compliment like that, I love this stuff. I had a kid from Compton in LA, where Dr. Dre's from, and he's just like, bro, your Mcka sets, man, I love them. I'm like, how am I allowed to swear?
Oh, swear away.
Oh, sorry. I just wasn't sure. He's like, I'm like, how the fuck are you? How do you even know what Mcka is? And I don't mean that in a condescending way. It's just because, mate, if the DJs hadn't have flew over to Barcelona and got the records, we would have never heard it. So even when I venture outside the northeast and people are like, people down south, oh yeah, Mcka, I'm like, how the fuck? I'm always fascinated in understanding how did you discover that music? Because it's very close to me in my heart and my culture, and that's why when I came up with the concept of Nana Mcka, it started out as a Halloween costume, and then we had COVID. And from COVID, I created this character, and I was just like, if I had a live stream, it was me and him who came up with the idea. Like if I live stream on a Saturday night, dressed up as an old woman, it'll entertain people because we couldn't go out, we couldn't go places like here, right? So it just went from there, and it just grew and grew and grew. And I remember one night I had like nearly 2,000 people on Facebook just watching us live, and it evolved from there. And I've got so many amazing messages on my phone from people who've reached out to us and said, you've helped us through a really bad time. I had this really, really nice lass in between the last time you and I have sat down. And I was playing in Manchester, and I was just about to leave the club, and my girlfriend was just like, oh, you need to come and talk to this girl. And she was just like, you're the only reason I'm alive. And I said, what do you mean? And she was just like, your music stopped us from committing suicide. And I had to pause for a second and really absorb what she said. And I gave her a hug and that, and she said, just thank you for everything. And I was speechless. And I just said, oh, like, what's your details so I can stay in touch with you? And then I got a message off her not too long ago, and she was like, I've got a brain tumour, I've got cancer, and she was in hospital with her head shaved, and she was like, your tunes are getting us through it. That means so much to me, because I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose as a human being. And the things with Nana Mcka, I mean, for those that obviously don't know the story and stuff like that, like, I've done 5 wakes, and unfortunately all the wakes I did, they were all young people who, a couple of them committed suicide. Did you see the video of us on the mobility scooter? the lad who I got the mobility scooter off, Johnny Walker from over in Durham, he committed suicide, and I did his wake, but he said he didn't want anybody to cry at his funeral, he wanted to celebrate his life. And we gave him a fucking min send-off. It was in this little dingy pub in Durham, but it was we celebrated his life, and to be asked to do something like that is so meaningful to me, because it's the greatest honour, to send someone off. But unfortunately, they were all young.
Too early.
Too early, mate, and that's why all the messages that I get from people, you've helped us through a bad time. It's extraordinarily rewarding, but it's a byproduct of just doing what I love. And I just want to say to everybody who supported us, whether it's Nana Mcka or myself, it means so much, because it's like I said, I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose as a human, and I've got to do amazing things. And there was this one lad as well, called Scott, a young teenager from down my way. He was a fan of Nana Mcka, and he got unfortunately diagnosed when he was 19 with sarcoma. He went in with back pain. went to the hospital with back pain. 4 weeks later, terminal. And I got a message from my friend at school, said, oh, he's a fan, could you send him a message? I says, if you want, I'll come and visit him. He was in the Freeman, in the cancer ward. And I went in and I remember mentally preparing myself thinking like, you're about to go and see a young man, speak to a young man whose life's coming to an end. He's 19, like where the fuck do you find the words for that, you know? And so anyway, I went in and, you know, it breaks my heart seeing someone, a human, never mind a young boy. His life's just on, you know, and went in there and I got changed and I put my hand on his hand and I says, hello, I says, there's my hero. And he said to me, he was just like, he obviously couldn't really talk to me because he was, you know, really very, very sick. But he managed to muster up the words eventually. He was just like, you're my hero. And we got a picture together and I put my hand on his hand and said goodbye to him and that, and then died 2 hours later. And then I said, gave him his send off, right? It's this weird polarity because it's like doing the music reaches people and it's a release and it takes them away from the shit they're going through, right? But I've had some really, really mad experiences, but I'm also feel very privileged that I've been able to do something nice under extremely negative circumstances. It's like, like I say, mate, it's a mad experience, but it just means a lot to me. I'm trying to articulate and find the words, how much it means, but there's no words in the English language that I can really find to fully epitomise how I feel. But anyway, like I say, we're bringing her back. And do you know what? It's having that hiatus from when I killed her off to bring her back. I didn't realise how much overall she contributed to my overall creativity. So I was just like, I've done that, I want to move on. And I always had the idea of bringing her back. But now's the right time. And like I said, like I was just alluding to, I realised how much she actually contributed overall to my creativity. So like I've got all these mad ideas. Like I was just saying to you before when we sat down, like my mind's going 100 miles an hour because I get all these mad ideas, all the mad ideas I had from when I promoted my first debut single. So on Radio 1 and they were like, where'd you get these ideas from? And I was just like, from the beyond, God, the universe, whatever, they just come from somewhere. But I love that creativity spot that I have, you know. So, but as well though, like, and I was talking about with Makina, mate, it's the Geordie aspect, it's the culture. And that's why when I see that our culture spreading around the world, it means so much to me because that ties in with everything that's happening in our city and our people. I was sitting thinking about this. In my travels and meeting people up and down the country, I find that being a Geordie and coming from where we do, it's not just a culture, it's a way of life. And by that what I mean is where we have something very special here. And I've seen that in the music scene, you know, like I've been around the world. I was in San Diego playing there for New Year. And we ended up in where was that mag party? The San Diego Mags, wasn't it? Somewhere in San Diego. Yeah, so we ended up in a bar in San Diego and this fucking American screaming "Big Dick Dan Burn." It was when we played Liverpool and we ended
Did you
up.
meet SoCal Geordie?
I think so. No, sorry, that's him.
In it?
That's him. Yeah.
I always forget his real name. That's his Instagram thing.
Yeah, he was such a nice lad, and he went. Like, he comes in. It's like a football bar, right? And it's such a crazy situation because you're in this bar with Man City, Liverpool, Man United, Newcastle fans, and I'm like, you couldn't do this in the UK. There'd be fucking hell on. And I said to him, I was like, how does this work? He went, we all have come to the agreement that it has, in order for this to work, we have to be harmonious with each other and we have to respect each other. And it was mental because you had fucking Liverpool fans in the bar. And it was, can you remember Dubrovka? He made loads of saves. We lost 4-2. Yeah. It was a good game. And then this guy was screaming loads of stuff. He's like, fucking Dubrovka, man. And it was funny, you know, because before we went in, there was a lad he's from Whitley Bay. I grew up with him. And he lives over there. He's like a private chef. I think it was Robbie Williams' private chef in Beverly Hills. And he's like, I'll take you to this bar. And before the conversation, we were talking about Nick Pope in Dubrovka. And he was saying, he went, Dubrovka's better than Nick Pope and that and all this stuff. And obviously, me and him having a chat and that, I was just like, I don't think so, like. And then he fucking turned up. And he did fucking play mint. And do you know, it was mad. There was a guy I met from Ashington who lives over there. And seeing like Yanks in fucking Geordie top, like tune tops and that, it's a mad, surreal experience because, you know, we're a little part of a little country, and even when you go to the store and you get brown ale, do you know what I mean? It's those little intricate details that's all part of our culture and our way of life, and I love that. But yeah, when being in that bar, mate, and seeing all different football fans being harmonious, it was like, you could not fucking do this, to be fucking hell on.
No,
but it's amazing, mate, and I love that, and that's why, you know, when I go around the world, and I meet people from, whether they're from here or they support Newcastle, they're just like the way of life and that. It's beautiful to see, because I'm really proud to come from where I do, because it gave us so many opportunities. You know, like I say, we're living in a crazy time at the minute now where I feel like we're somewhat, not denigrated, but like should feel ashamed to be British and English, which is ridiculous. Like, mate, like I'm descendant of immigrants who came here legally. Dad's from Pakistan and my grandfather's from South Africa. Came here for a better life, more opportunities, hence why I'm here. Do you know what I mean? And I think like it's the gratitude and paying homage to where you come from. It's bigger than just the football club. It's our way of life, mate. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because
I love it when I see clips of you from touring and you're in America, you're in recently Malta and these places, and you stand up on the decks and you're always looking for a Toon flag. You normally always find one, to be fair. Someone in a Toon kit.
Yeah, you do.
You're wearing your Schak Newcastle kit, and you playing Mcka in these places where you're saying they resonate with it is mad to me, because I grew up going to like the Quayside buying New Monkey tapes. Do you know what I mean? So now that they've got the internet and stuff, I can understand certain things reaching them, but for them to like love Mcka tunes when it was so hardcore and like prevalent in like the 90s and early 2000s is mad to me, thinking that people are loving it. I love that about you, when you're taking bits of our culture and always proud of it, because you do show it. You don't have to wear a Newcastle top, you don't have to play Mcka. It'd be easier for you probably not to do that.
Well, mate, do you know what it is? There is some DJs who don't want to do it because they don't want to alienate the fan base, but I'm willing to potentially lose fans to pay homage to where I come from, again, going back to what I've been given. It's very important, because I know how lucky and blessed I am. If I came from a different, but mate, we're fucking instantly better off than billions of people around the world the minute we're born. Do you understand? And so we've been given this opportunity, and I'm so grateful to the universe for the opportunities I've been given and coming from here. So it's paying homage. I'm a fucking Geordie, I'm proud to be one. And you have to understand as well, the support and everything I've been given, whether through Mcka or my stuff, having that support's really, 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 really important. But it's more pride, mate, and legacy. Like some people are like I was alluding to before about my grandfather. He fucking hated South Africa, and when he left, he never came back. And he came and joined the Merchant Navy. And I come from a place that I would never feel like that. I'm fucking so proud, and it oozes through us, and I like that. And do you know, when I'm traveling and I hear a Geordie accent, I'm like, ooh. Do you know what I mean? It's trying to articulate the feeling I have inside of it is somewhat difficult, but I don't know, I just think we have something special here. We come from a special place, and that's why I call it's like a principality, like Monaco or San Marino. It's like a country within a country, because I do feel we're different from everywhere else.
You do feel that north-south divide, like, don't you?
100%, mate. I mean, well, you'll know this better than anybody, especially with the places that you've been and travelling and that. I mean, like, I'd love to get your opinion on how you feel about all of this, what we've been talking about.
So for me, it's the same, you know. Like, recently I was, obviously not far away, only in Spain, but I'm walking along with my Toon top on, and the lad from Durham comes over, watches the channel, and he's like, oh, hello, mate, you all right? And he asked me if I'm watching the game. We played Chelsea, like last month. And then we're in a bar then. And I've walked into the bar, big sports bar, and I've asked them to put the Newcastle game on. And the Spanish lads behind the bar was like, all right. She had like Man U on and that. And then literally 5 minutes later, these like Man U fans come in who are playing West Ham at the same time. Like, hey, can you put the Manchester United game on? I'm like, can't you fuck? I was like, Newcastle game's on, yeah. First come, first serve, sunshine. But they had another part, to be fair, so they managed to put the Man U game on. All these Americans came in who were all Chelsea fans, and I was just sitting there as a Newcastle fan. But they were all sound. They were like, man, that Joe Elton's great.
I love that.
We started getting shots in together, having a drink. Obviously, they beat with, but they were all sound. And like, I lived in Dubai for a bit. There was a big Dubai Mags group over there. We used to all meet up and watch the games together over there in Dubai, and that like blew my mind, like in the middle of the fucking desert, 8 hours away. And there was loads of, and this was obviously before, like loads of influencers went out there. This was like 5 years ago.
Of course.
So when you go around, it's amazing to see Newcastle represented, and like you said about brown ale in America. When I went to Florida, you see it on the shelves, and you've seen it in films.
We
You've
are.
seen it in Taken, like Liam Neeson's drinking a bottle of brown ale.
Yeah.
It's like, it's mad.
I think it's, do you know what though? I think we really appreciate our culture so much and our way of life that when we do see it, it's really valued. Whereas like, I don't know, like if it was another part of the country or just an English thing, like, oh, there's another fucking pile of crumpets or something, or PG tips, I don't know.
We've got Warbia though.
I know,
Do you know what I mean?
something stereotypical like that, but the point you were just talking about there, it really epitomises, like, again, how I feel, in the sense that we are different and we have something special. And I wanted to ask you, actually, what do you think separates our club and our way of life from everybody else?
I think with us, it's obviously one city, one club, which makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Do you know, if you are a Chelsea fan, you've got to pick up the London clubs around you. If Chelsea are doing crap, actually I might go and support Spurs for a little bit, or I might go and do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the same. They don't feel it as much as us. For me, like, I think, and we're going to talk about the stadium soon.
Yeah.
You know, that's the cathedral on our hill. That's there. You can see it across the whole city.
Of course.
And I just think there's something about us where we have a lot more pride than other people.
Yeah.
Because you'll see it a lot of other clubs, the Manchester clubs, very touristy, not much atmosphere. Liverpool's even went that way a little bit now.
Yeah.
With us, I just think it's drilled into us from such a young age. Like, people ask me how did I become a Newcastle fan.
Yeah.
And I was like, getting a shirt thrown at us at like 3 years old, and it was a Christmas present or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I didn't choose it, but you brought up with it.
Yeah.
And then you live through it.
Yeah.
I think it's just something in us where we feel it a lot more. Because I'm telling you, like, you don't see any other Premier League team doing what we did and wore flags for exactly the night.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And do you know what as well? Remember the Carabao Cup semi-final? The final. So can you remember when, obviously, we were doing the flags? Obviously, I did it when I was at the stadium playing. Fucking Man U, I'll never forget it. I was sitting down and fucking Man U had scarves on the seats. They copied off us
to compete.
This is what I'm saying. It's the atmosphere. Like this is why I wanted to ask you, because you're a very experienced person, and this you spent many time studying other clubs, their other fan base and stuff like that, right? I know and I feel it in my heart that we do have something different and special. And again, the atmosphere, mate, like what we created, and then you see other clubs copying off us. It's because we have something. But you know what? And I'd mean this in the most respectful way possible. They cannot replicate what we have because they don't have the same soul and spirit as we do. And that's not something that you just get. It's earned over years and years and years and years. It's ingrained into our fabric and the DNA of us.
It's passion.
It's passion.
It's because it would be like me trying to be you.
Right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You have like this intense passion for your music, you know, whether it be techno or Mcka or whatever it may be, and you can see it on stage.
Yeah.
I couldn't go up there and replicate what you do. I could maybe do it 5-10 minutes. I couldn't do it week in, week out. Do you know what I mean? I'll go tour around the world. People would be like, nah, he's not really, you know, it's not his profession, it's not his like passion. Whereas hopefully mine does come across talking about Newcastle.
Of course it does. We're just saying off camera. The game, remind us again which match it was. When we won, was it 8-0, 8-1?
Oh, Sheffield United away.
And you fucking group of lads, and they pissed us off, because you very rarely hear it. And this is, when we were younger, and I've alluded to this in other interviews before, that I felt like Geordies, because we're working class people, we were mocked on television,
Definitely.
Always labelled as thick working class people. And I've seen some people who've said, like, I think that's a bit of a stretch, but either you have a fucking very short memory, or you were too young to be around then, because that's a fact. And I remember the lad was like, oh, you fucking Geordie wank, and you were like, aye, gotta be eating out, mate, fucking jog on. Just buy yourself on your Todd, frontline battalion. I fucking love that, mate, because you just risked your fucking life. But that's what I'm saying, it's the passion, and it screams through, mate.
In the moment, I didn't even think to not do that.
But that's what makes you, you. You're being real, you're just being yourself, and absolutely, mate, you can see that passion in what you do, but again, it's like, it's us being us and being Geordies, and I think, and I've said this before, mate, and I try to approach it from a non-biased way, that is, you know, when you look at other football clubs in the fan base, can you remember when, I remember seeing on the telly years ago when Man City were winning like 5-0, half the people had left. Why the fuck would you leave? Take it in.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? Especially, then this was not long after I was like, they'd won the first and second title. And I'm like, you'd fucking never see that in the tune.
Never.
And again, like I said, I try to approach it from a non-biased perspective. Like, do we have the best fan base? What, like in your professional opinion, over the many years of travelling, away games and everything, right? In your most humble opinion, what do you think?
Even with the black and white specs on, right?
Yeah.
We do. I'm telling you, we do easily in this country.
Yeah.
For me, like I said, Liverpool used to be up there. I'm sure last night against Real Madrid at Anfield, the place was rocking. But there's nowhere close. There's nowhere close. There's certain away fans that come here where you think, to be fair, Man United actually have really good away fans, really loud. And that's obviously a hardcore group of them who've followed for years. But you go to Old Trafford, dead. Absolutely dead. No noise, no nothing unless they score. And there's just nothing there. And I tell you what impressed me more than anything was obviously the Champions League nights last year.
Oh, PSG.
The PSG fans I was there in Paris, they were decent, the Ultras. Yeah. Dortmund, everyone bigged up Dortmund's atmosphere, saying it was the best in the yellow wall.
Yeah.
I wasn't overly impressed with that.
Aye.
So for me, honestly...
Who would you say is the best fan base that you've came across other than us?
Out of
every club you've ever been to, whether it's at home or away, like, who would you say?
Oh... there's something about... but then again, the PSG ones, they just use the drum and that, you know.
The Ultras, when they come through. Remember when they were marching past Monument? Aye. And then we fucking smashed them 4-1.
You can see the passion in that, but I think
I think that was probably as well, which is why I won the subject. That's probably the best game I think I've ever seen Newcastle play. And like, look at the odds, mate. We were fucking injury prone and everything, and we didn't just beat them. We fucking turned them over. And you're playing against Mbappe. He was MIA in that game.
And everyone was saying,
and I will say as well, for the record, I think we got cheated in the second game as well.
Massively.
And I think everybody knows that. But the lads, mate, though, to pull that off under the circumstances, it was fucking unbelievable, and I feel incredibly grateful to be able to witness something like that. So it's such a good game, and I think what I wanted to ask you as well is you were talking about Man United, and this ties into our next segment, obviously with the stadium debacle that we're currently undergoing at the minute, whether we're going to stay at St James's or we're going to go and take the leap of faith and build a new stadium, right? Do you think was the turning point at Man U for them to become, I'm not going to, soulless might be too much of an egregious word, but like in your opinion, like you just said, like you felt like it's starting to lack a bit of soul. What do you think the turning point was for them to get that? Was it after Ferguson left, or?
Because they were used to success so much, they don't know what losing feels like.
We do.
So where's it? I was just the other way around. So we've got any sort of thing to cling on to, where like through the roof, get your flags out. But they had such high expectations because they had so many years of winning everything under Ferguson that it was a big shell shot of them on it. And then now it's been like 10 years since they won the league. They've still won the odd FA Cup and stuff like last year. But I think the fans have such a high expectation. Old Trafford, I think they're stuck in the past. For me. They still think it's the days of
glory days.
Rooney, Van Nistelrooy, all that, Tevez, and even before that. So Cantona's and that. So I think a lot of them are stuck in the past. A lot of them are tourists. They don't really have that passion to bring it. So I think that's why they're used to winning, and now they can't handle losing.
So do you think they never appreciated it fully? Okay, so like look at us. We're on the tail end. So polar opposite, diametrically opposed to Manchester United in the sense that we had the soulless years of Mike Ashley. And then, like you say, when we had the takeover, you see how many fucking people came? It was just a news.
Aye.
Putting Safenda's on the fucking statue and that, and playing the saxophone, like, mate, name another place that's happened. And that's where I think when you tie all the elements in of our culture, that's what separates us, it makes us different. But I think the
country will really see it when we win something.
Yeah.
They'll be like, wow, those Newcastle fans are a bit mental, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because Man U fans, for example, right, after that Carabao Cup final, I was heading back to Box Park, Wembley. They're all waiting for the tube, not a noise, not even a song, not even a little sing-song. Imagine if we had a hanging from lampposts, tops off, cans getting thrown everywhere.
Mate, honestly, do you know what? And do you know when we were doing the second, obviously I was down there filming at Wembley with Carabao, and they said to us, I'm really happy that Newcastle got the final. He went because he's full of energy. Yeah. He's got some. It's just like, oh right, okay, so Liverpool here or Chelsea or Man U or whoever.
Same old.
It's like fuck. We've got substance. We've got content to make, right? Because we care, and we value that. And do you know what? Like I felt the same as well. Like after the match and that, I'll never forget this as well. I don't want to digress too much, but where we were sitting, right. We were sat with Man U fans and obviously Newcastle fans. And I'll never forget this when they first scored. This fucking guy turned round. He's next to a 70-odd-year-old man who's got Parkinson's. You can see him, he was like shaking and that. And he's just stood up and he's like, fucking Geordie cunts. Like this. And I was just like, mate, like fucking have a bit of respect. You know what I mean? I know that when it comes to sport and stuff like that, people get passionate in that, but he was just fucking screaming at this old man. And I'm just like, what? Just beat a fucking...
It was someone his own age and they've been giving each other a bit, but like...
That's what I'm saying, mate. And I just... again, going back to the point we were talking about the clubs and stuff like that, that's what I think separates us, is we know how much we want to win, and it'll be valued. And I guess you could say that Man U they got used to it, and then now they're not as successful as they were, and that like things have changed. But I guess to tie in what we were talking about with the stadium and that, like, first of all, I'd love to get your thoughts on what you feel we should do. Do you think we should stay at St James's, or do you think we should take the leap of faith and build a new one?
I said from the get-go, right, and I got loads of grief for it. From when the takeover first happened, I said, I guarantee these Saudis will want to build a new stadium. Yeah. But then Amanda Stevie came out and said, obviously keep everyone on side.
Yeah, of course.
You're not going to come and upset the apple cart straight away and be like, oh, Geordie's, that home you've lived in for 100 odd years. Yeah, going to move next week. So obviously she was going to play it safe and be like, no, we're never going to move from St James's Park, all of that. But it's just always looked like, for me, those owners would want a shiny new stadium to show off, and more importantly, to bring in more revenue.
Of course, mate.
And I think now, I mean, I love St James's Park. The memories I've had there, unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I just think that the timing, it has to happen now for me. As much as it would, the ideal scenario would be if you could just extend it. If you could just extend the East Stand, even if you could have it all the way around like it is. How
many would? Right, okay, so let's just war game that, right? Let's just say hypothetically we can get what we want. What we're talking max seats, what 60 something?
At where we are now.
No. Like let's say.
I think we'll build like a 70, 75.
No, not new. Let's say if we're going to extend St James's, what's the max? What's the max?
The Nick, you do by about 8 to 10,000.
Right. So again, looking at PSR, right, the only way to overcome that, and this is my opinion, is I understand we've got such deep legacy and history at St James's Park, but times change, and you've got to remember this is a business as well, and we might never get this opportunity again. Imagine the Saudis might just say, you know what, this isn't working. and mate, that could be it. We have this opportunity in front of all of us to really fucking stick it at the big six, and not just here and there. I'm talking fucking season after season after season after season after season after season after season, right? We have the resources, finally. You know what it was like under Ashley? These fucking arse with Squeaky was that tight. Do you know what I mean? And I understood he was a businessman and that's how he's running shit, right? But you see this like with Murder, and obviously you were talking about Amanda before, and like she was the perfect person to make that transition. And I remember in the brief time I spent with her, she's a very sweet woman, really good energy. You can know when someone's full of shit, and she genuinely cared. And I think in the business world, mate, like to see these people who genuinely care, and they don't just treat it as a business. They care about the passion. And people have always commented on Newcastle as being a sleeping giant because of the passion. They just need the resources and the fucking fuel. Yeah. Now have it, and I think if we didn't take this opportunity, I think we'd regret it, because we need the revenue.
I think you're right, and you've even had like Brad Miller, who's the CEO now. He's in charge of the whole stadium development. Him saying that this is a once-in-a-lifetime check. Yeah,
absolutely, mate.
And them words to me don't signal an extra 8,000 seats at St James's Park.
You're not going to generate enough. I mean, I think if we're talking a new stadium, 75, something like that, 70, something like that, maybe even 80. Who knows?
I think so, easy.
And I imagine that as well, right? And I think this ties in what we were talking about before, in the fact that, okay, let's just say we build a stadium, 75, 80,000 seats. You open the door then to tourists, even more tourists, right? And from a business perspective, you're gonna recoup that money a lot faster than if you spent 100 odd million, a few hundred million at St James's. You're talking ad revenue, the money generated from all the ticket sales, and you fucking know, and I know that would be sold out every home game. And it's not just the games, mate. In the off season, fucking Rihanna could do a world tour.
There you go.
Imagine Rihanna and bringing all of our following from around the world to Newcastle. It puts us on the map even more.
Supported by Nana Mcka.
Well, that would be interesting. Nana and Rihanna. I'll have to put the feelers out. But that's the thing. But the one stipulation I would say is this, and is that building a new stadium, we must not, under any circumstances, allow the atmosphere to be thwarted and destroyed. And my manager's a Spurs fan, right? He said when they built the new stadium, I'd love to know if you could corroborate this. He said that what they did is they split up the season ticket holders to appease the tourists, thus it lost its atmosphere.
That's terrible.
So that cannot happen. And I get it, you've got to commercialise to bring in the revenue, and it would happen, right? But they've got to keep it like the Gallagher, keep the fans together, and then you can have your tourist sections and stuff like that. Otherwise, we don't want to end up like a soulless club. But I just interject. I don't think that would ever happen, because our spirit, our soul would never allow that to happen. But they must keep the season ticket holders together, because that's a massive building block in keeping the atmosphere correct.
You'd have to pay homage to the Gallagher, and you'd have to try and replicate that.
How-
And obviously you would have war flags. So us being in a different stadium, it's not going to make a difference to me, as long as it obviously isn't something as ridiculous as like West Ham Stadium. Now I know they absolutely hate the fact they have moved
To the
from
Olympics.
Upton Park
Yeah,
to the Olympic Stadium. The Olympic Stadium. The miles away, there's no atmosphere in there.
Yeah.
Spurs is kind of the same. Arsenal's the same. Man City's, you know what I mean? Man City main road. That was like a hostile place to go back 80s, 90s. And then now, the Etihad's just the empty Etihad. Do you know what I mean? It's just all the way around, it's crap. So we kind of do that, but I don't think we'd do that. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what Everton's like. You know, they've got a new stadium starting this summer, and they've built it to be the closest pitch in the league to the stands to keep the atmosphere. Because they didn't want to lose that from like that traditional Goodison Park. So they've built it where the proper steep, right next to the pitch, fans have the voice still. That's important, and I'm sure that's what we would make sure we do now.
Yeah, I think as well though, I think it's important, we was talking about with retaining the soul, is we pay homage to the Gallagher and stuff like that. But location's going to be very, very key as well. And I think one thing that St James's has, we've got the metro straight there, and there's a lot of people out there who don't drive, and there's a lot of people who, you know, driving in the city, you know, it's a fucking nightmare.
Right, today it was a nightmare.
Getting in, getting out.
Park illegally outside, double yellows.
But we need to ideally keep it city centre, right?
That's
I mean, so like, okay, let's hypothesize. So where do you think it would be? Would it be in the city? If so, like, where would it be? I mean, the only obvious space would be Leeds Park, the Town Moor, what, like.
So hearing what Brad Miller and that had to say last week at that
at the
Schak event
staff
that
event,
I was at, he was saying that, in his words, they don't want to stretch the elastic band too far.
Yeah.
They understand the importance of keeping it in the city centre. You know, they're not going to, there might be loads of land in Bedlington, but they're not going to put it all the way up north.
No.
Even Gosforth, you know, there's talks of like, the race course, which is obviously owned by the Room brothers.
Yeah.
Even then, you're taking away the soul and obviously the economy, like all the bars and that. Do you know what I mean? So for me, the ideal location, which obviously it's going to be difficult, is Leazes Park, just behind there.
Yeah.
There is rumours that, you know, they have made potential agreements with like the freedom of the park
Society,
and all that.
yeah.
So it's all hearsay at the minute. A lot of people have signed NDAs and stuff, but if that could happen, that's the ideal scenario for me if we're going to build a new stadium.
Yeah, because I think then as well, because I thought, like, let's just say, I think I remember I saw a video a couple of years ago, I think there's Tyneside History, the ball guy.
Aye.
There was a rumour going about Benton Park View, because obviously HMRC's being rebuilt at the bottom of Northumberland Street now. And it is a fucking massive landmass, but it's a massive residential area. So I don't really know if that would work, but again, obviously having local transportation links is really important for those who don't drive or don't want to drive. So I think Leazes Park or somewhat of the Town Moor would be the obvious one. Obviously, it depends on the I don't know if do the Freeman Society look after Leazes Park, or is it just the Town Moor?
It's Leazes Park.
So like, I mean, like when we did Trick Fest in the summer, I know those guys, it was somewhat arduous getting permission from the Freeman Society to be able to do the festival, but because they've seen it worked and stuff like that, I think it's going to be like an ongoing thing now, which is great for the city. But again, I think they need to keep it in the city and not too far out, so I hope so, because it's the opportunities, we're talking economic boom, you know, for this area, the amount of jobs that'll be created, the revenue that'll bring in, and also like the tourism. Do you know what I mean? We've got so much to give to the world, and I just think that I get the history, I get it, but
is that your choice then as well? Build a new one.
Yeah, mate, you survive or die. Right. Sorry, excuse me, you evolve or die. And we have to be realistic, mate. You either evolve and adapt and move on, otherwise you die. And I think if we don't take this opportunity, we could just stay in the mid-table forever. Well, not indefinitely, but like, I mean, like, we've got the shot of the big leagues, yeah.
We have, because the owners are there, but you can't spend the money because of the PSR rules and the FFP rules.
Yeah.
A way around that is to have that massive stadium. It is to increase, because you can also put, you know, we're talking about season ticket holders, that's the most important thing to us. But the club are obviously looking at, huge corporate and hospitality areas where that's where you make your coin. Do you know what I mean? Businessmen spending 20, 30 grand a match.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So our revenue, speaking of Spurs, is like, I think we make 30 million on a match day, and they make over 100 million.
100 and something
So
million.
look at how much more they're making. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
That's why what you're saying, you have to evolve and you have to compete with them. We can't at the minute.
Yeah, exactly. Competition, mate. And I think their stadium's just under 63,000. If we could build 70, 75, 80. I mean, I've been. Have you ever been to an NFL game over in America?
No.
So I went. I was fortunate enough. One of my buddies actually. He's from Louisiana. He's from New Orleans. I met him on Xbox on Call of Duty Black Ops 13 years ago. I brought him to his first ever soccer game, as he calls, because he used to play soccer, football. And I said, I'll bring you to a match. And it was the 22-23 season, obviously the great season that we had, and first game. And obviously we won 2-0. And it was really nice to share that experience. But when I went and stayed with him, I went and saw the New Orleans Saints play against the Arizona Cardinals. And this is the Mercedes Dome, cap 75, and its roof. The fucking atmosphere is mad. Can you imagine fucking a stadium 70 plus thousand being filled with Geordies and whoever else? The atmosphere would be crazy. And you know me, filling the seats isn't going to be a problem.
No, not at all.
So it's a no-brainer, and I think we just have to go for it. Otherwise, like you said, we'll be stuck in the past, and would look back 10, 20 years from now and go, I think we probably should have made that decision.
Went for it. Yeah.
And I think as well, I wanted to ask you, let's just say we build it, what would happen to the original one? Do you think the women would play there for the women's league? Or
So if they are going to build it in Leeds Park next to it, I think we might have to give up some of that land to them. Maybe you can preserve it in a way like that. I think it's going to be tough what you do with the current one, because the women have still got a way to go in terms of promotion. Obviously Becky's doing a class job in that, and hopefully they can get to the Super League and then the Champions League as well. For the lasses would be brilliant, but that might be 52,000. Is it too big? Could you turn it into another arena or something? I think for me, you're probably going to have to, if you can build St. James's right like at the back of it where Leeds Park is and where that multi-storey car park is, you're probably going to have to take over some of the current land as well. And I think we're probably going to have to makeshift it into that. Yeah. To be honest, like, which would be a shame, but it would be strange if you had like a 52,000 seat stadium and then a mile behind it you've got an 80,000 seat stadium. I couldn't really see that happening. Yeah. Well, where do you reckon we could do with it?
I get that's what comes to mind to me. Whether it could be a makeshift training ground, I don't know, or used for the women. That's what comes to mind to me, is using it for the women's league. I do think it's only a matter of time before they end up, in the Super League and the Champions League and stuff like that.
Man City do it really well, to be fair, don't they? Because where they are, they've got the Etihad campus.
Yeah.
So the women's play there, the academy players there, and they're even extending their bit at the minute, having a hotel on and that. So you could, if you could get permission, if you could buy the whole land, like have a whole area just dedicated to Newcastle United Football Club, would be unbelievable.
I think that exactly, mate. Whether it's training grounds, the stadium, it's just all in-house, all in one place, right? And I think as well, like, if you're looking at it from a perspective from the regulations and the laws and stuff in the council, I know they've got contracts to negotiate and rules to litigate, laws to litigate. The way I would be arguing it, because I've imagined this if I was like a lawyer, I'd be like, look, you're going to generate so much fucking money for the city. The city's going to be so much better off in multifaceted ways. I'm talking, like I said, economy, internationally recognised, jobs created, economic boom. We need it. Do you know what I'm saying? And I mean, like, times are fucking hard now, and we have the Willy Wonka golden ticket. And we just need to fucking take it, but also preserve the stadium and have a way to utilise it. No one wants to see it knocked down, and I don't think ever would be. And I wouldn't want to say that. I think like preserving the history and the legacy, training grounds, and it could, like you're saying, it can also be used for music facilities and stuff like that. Obviously, Sam's playing again next year, and
then you can get the NFL there and just do all sorts.
This is what I'm saying, and I think it would take us. We would need a new stadium to bring the NFL, and mate would be the only place in the north because they all go to Wembley.
Oh, Wembley and Spurs, isn't it?
Yeah, so if we could bring that to the north, it's just putting it on the map. And ultimately, mate, I want what's best for the people in the city and our way of life and our culture. Because do you know what? It's fucking our time, and I've said this before. We are fucking deserving of this. And do you know what? We would do a better job at fucking winning. And what I mean is we'd appreciate it more. It'd be like the fucking endless summer that you never stop hearing about. Do you know what I mean?
That would be class, actually. I've just had an idea.
What's that?
How obviously Fury Usyk are fighting in Saudi
Yeah.
for the rematch next month.
Yeah.
Just bring the Saudis out, yeah?
Yeah.
They're already own the place.
Yeah.
Get them in the new stadium there.
Yeah.
Imagine big boxing events at St James's, the new one.
This is what I'm saying,
man.
mate. The potential is massive, and I think I understand for those who they don't want to leave St James's behind, but the way, like I say, you got to look. The world's changing. We have to change with it, otherwise we'll just be left behind. You know. So.
Well, we'll
Yep.
find out
We'll
what
find
happens
out, yeah.
anyways, because the feasibility study will come out like January, February, where they
Yeah.
announce what is going to happen, new stadium
Yeah.
or extend the current one.
Well, we'll wait and see, but like I say, I do hope that comes to fruition, because I think ultimately it'll be the best thing for our people, our city, our club, and the possibilities are endless. So.
Love it.
Yeah.
Shak, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Pleasure, mate.
We
Thank
definitely
you
went
very
on
much.
for longer than we
I
thought.
know, I know.
One last thing, if you want to tell them about your event here at NX and Nana Mcka's rebirth.
Rebirth, yeah. So Black Eye Friday, 20th of December, I'm doing my Christmas home show here, bringing back the one and only Nana Mcka, resurrected from the dead. And honestly, guys, if you love your music, please come along to this show, because it is a show that you will never forget. I'm not going to get into too many fucking details, but the presentation of what I'm doing, there's so much thought going into it. And you know what I'm like, obviously with ideas and shit like that. I love doing wild shit. It's going to be fucking mental. So I'll see you all guys on the 20th, mate. And
You know, when people ask me about you, I say you're like a mad genius, you know. Because I say you know how to do well as well, like, you know, like the social media stuff.
marketing and that.
The bang on with the Nana Mcka stuff, like the viral clips. I said it makes it look easy. I need to speak to you for ideas, to be fair.
Yeah, I think you've got it boxed off if you can't deep into enemy territory and just tell them to fucking ram it. You know what I mean? But
I do it more often, I guess, than doing that.
Nah, yeah, nah, but I love it, mate. But yeah,
Great
pleasure,
fun, mate.
mate. Thank you very much, mate.
Love it, bro.
Pleasure.